Welcome back. We got a burp-tastic episode 21 of the Average Bros Fantasy Football Podcast, Season 2. I got my spectacles. Tyler's got his testicles. Anthony's got his watch. We're here. We're going to talk about matchups, Part 2. Oops, I got the wrong graphic. If you're on YouTube, there we go. Matchups, Part 2. What?
They said testicles, watch.
Testicles, spectacles,
Who's
wallet,
the comedian
watch.
who talks about that?
Who's got the wallet? I don't
Putting
know.
his wiener over his arm. Oh, Nick Schwartzen. He's like, hey, you know what time it is? And he puts his wiener over his wrist.
No, but that's really funny. I don't remember that.
I feel like I should have never told you that because I feel like when you're blacked out, you're going to do that.
I feel like I've already probably done it.
Next time,
I feel like Nick Schwartzen learned that from me.
Next time Mike sends a group story, it's going to be in the shower, and then all of a sudden he's going to say, hey guys, what time is it? And it's fucking put his hand over his wiener.
Dude, honestly, I could say this though. Like, single Mike was just slinging that dick around.
I was, huh?
But, you know, relationship Mike, he's more conservative, dude. I like this guy better.
Do you?
Yeah, he's got plants in the shower.
Yeah, dude.
I am all about the plant life, dude. Herbalife, bro. Listen, dude, but I got to tell the people what we're talking about today.
What are we talking about, Mike?
This is what we're talking about. We're talking about matchups. Matchup breakdowns with your host. Together we are known as Matt, M-A-T, Mike, Anthony, Tyler, here for the Average Bros Fantasy Football Podcast Season 2. Today we're going to go over some games. Let me list them off here. What we got? We got Miami playing in Dallas. Miami is not favored by 22.5 points. That would be the Cowboys. Over under 47. We got the Giants. We're playing in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, it's a great city. I've gone to visit. I only wanted to kill myself 2 times. Tampa Bay is minus 6.5. The over-under is 48. Moving on, we got the Panthers playing the Cardinals in Arizona. Arizona's actually favored, minus 2.5. We got the rookie Kyler Murray. Somehow he is favored in this matchup. We got Saints playing the Seahawks in Seattle. Man, those hyper green uniforms, those are sweet, huh? Seattle, minus 4, over under 45. Chargers in Los Angeles. What a stadium. I heard they play soccer there. That's where you kick the ball instead of throwing it. Chargers are minus 3, over under 48.5. Steelers are playing in San Francisco. San Francisco's minus 6.5. That's Tyler's game. Pick the Steelers, huh? Hey, homer pick, or maybe not. Over under 44. We got the Rams playing in Cleveland. Cleveland is not favored by 3. Rams are flavored by 3. They're flavored by 3. What'd you do?
Made a retarded ram noise.
Have you ever seen that picture of the ram and it has its horn grew into his skull and he died? Pretty crazy.
No.
You should follow this Instagram page called
You ever see when rams
Nature
actually go
is
at it?
What?
When rams go at it?
When they like do it or when they
No,
fight?
when they like fight.
Oh, okay. No. Over under 48 on that one.
Watch it on your spare time.
I follow this page on Instagram called Nature is Metal. I got Tyler to follow it, and it's just literally like animals eating other animals. It's pretty cool. But yeah, that's what we're talking about today. These breakdowns. We're gonna go over a couple things. Here we go. Boys, we're in here. The podcast has started.
I was waiting for you to
Do you guys want to talk about this Antonio Brown mess really fast? We all got
touch on
alerts.
that. The saga continues. Antonio Brown.
Jesus, Murphy.
What did it say exactly?
Basically, it seems like Antonio Brown is texting and threatening people, or his team is, right? Is it what you get?
Yeah, it was something like he's
gathered?
threatening like the.
Someone investigating him.
Yeah, and they were like basically felt uncomfortable.
It's some Donald Trump shit right now, to be honest. At this point, I mean, Jesus, AB, man.
Do you have the hiccups?
What?
Did you just hiccup?
No,
Oh.
I've never hiccuped before.
You're bullshit.
Yeah, just not once, dude. I just refuse. You know what I mean?
All right. Yeah, but I don't know. It's like it just seems like something's always popping up with that. I mean, I don't know. If I have AB, I'm playing him when he's there, and then.
Yeah, I tried to trade him. I gave up on trying to trade him.
I feel like no one's gonna want him.
Everybody's afraid. I think it's kind of like a stalemate. Everybody's afraid to do anything with him. Right as of right now, he's in the league. He's there. So, I mean, I would just embrace him if you have him in your lineup.
Yeah,
play him if you know he's playing.
I mean, it's the Patriots, so they'll probably figure something out to where he doesn't get suspended until the offseason. And then it'll pop up and be like, oh, They knew the whole time.
Yeah. Him and Tom. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you, Tom. It's not looking good. Probably went to his house and told him everything.
Tom's
Like,
like, "Hold on.
listen. We have people for this.
Give me a kiss.
Remember-
First, give me a kiss. Let's talk about this.
And that's why their rapport was so good, is that they've locked lips a couple times, huh?
They're like, he's like, let's connect with each other's energy. He's on.
Let's be on the same frequency.
He probably did one of those really long hugs, where they just embrace each other. Have you ever seen those tantra hugs where people say that they can orgasm from hugging? You never seen that? It's like these two couples. They're like couples, and they're like, yeah, you really just like you just gotta accept it, their soul into you, and then it just cuts to them, and then they're just holding each other, and it goes, the girl's like, from a hug. Anyways,
reminds me of that video. Sorry, one last thing. Where the guy's like, those people who are like, I can block energy with my, or you're punched at my force fields, or they like they'll like throw people down. And the one guy's like, all right, now try and hit me. And the dude's like, just punches him right in the face.
Punches him right in the mouth. Those guys deserve to get
He
punched
hits
in
it
the
like
mouth.
3 times, and that's like boop, boop.
It's like, where's your energy force field now?
The magnetic fields are off. It's a full moon.
It's a waxing crescent. Jesus Christ. Anyways, let's talk about football, huh? Let's just dive right into these matchups. You know what I'm trying to say, dude?
Dive in like a dolphin?
Dive in like a dolphin. Dolphins, fuck, dude.
They'll rape you.
They're playing the Cowboys. It's in Dallas. Fuck.
So for Miami side of the ball, they're probably not playing anyone. The one thing I want to ask you guys this, though, is that I've seen in a couple leagues, people are dropping like Drake. So if he's dropped, are you still rostering Drake? If he's out there, would you go get him? Because, he's still – I think better days are ahead for the Dolphins, as tough as it sounds. And, they are, having a fire sale over here where they're just cleaning house.
Fantasy football counselor throw it to you.
Yeah, dude. Jesus Christ. Anyways.
Wasn't worth the joke.
They're having a fire sale there in Miami, and there has been some reports that they might try to, trade Drake. They've been shopping him. So, I think he still deserves a roster spot at least. Maybe you're not starting him with how bad the team looks.
Let's
just say, for instance, he gets traded to a team.
Right.
Let's say he gets traded to, I don't know, like the Bucks for some reason.
That's what I was
If he goes to the Bucks, I think he's got some real value.
Yeah, I think you can. I guess it depends on like your situation, like what you need. Are you like? There's no bye weeks yet, so I think you can. This is a week where you can hold him for sure and see what happens. They are on a fire sale. I think Drake is talented. He's, I don't want to sound biased, but he can make explosive plays. He can catch the ball. He's a dual threat back. And honestly, when I was thinking about it, I was like, I hope he goes to Tampa Bay. That's like the perfect landing spot for him.
Yeah. So I just thought that was crazy. So like if you have Drake, don't drop him. It's always good to have the depth at the position. Realistically, what better players are you going to have? That you could just kind of hold on there. Maybe he's your fourth or fifth running back. Just hold on to him because you never know. Like I said, maybe he ends up getting traded in this. Next now he's a top 20 running back, and you dropped him.
Yeah, I think week 6 is the trade deadline. So if you grab him, you can hold him till a week. It's 3 more weeks, and then you could be like, all right, I'm cutting ties.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get traded, and then because
I would like to think too in more competitive games. It was the Ravens, it was the Patriots. This is looking pretty brutal against the Cowboys too. But I feel like in more competitive games, when we're playing against, I don't know, maybe like the Jets or the Redskins, the Bengals.
For audio listeners,
so far the Bengals have given up the most rushing yards in the league so far. I know it's only been 2 weeks, but in a game scenario where like that is an option, I think that game will be a little bit closer.
For audio listeners, this entire time Tyler's defending the Dolphins, Anthony is nodding his head in disbelief.
I'm not defending them. I'm just saying don't drop Drake because he's still a talented player.
I would agree.
It's been rough, and like I said, if he gets traded, then you could have something there. Don't drop it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm just playing because the Dolphins are terrible, but yeah, just hold him.
For sure.
Yeah, he's worth it.
All right, so Cowboys side of the ball here. You're dialing everyone up. Dak Prescott, Zeke. Ezekiel's no one.
Especially this week.
Yeah. I guess the one that would be tricky right here is, there's no Michael Gallup. He's out for 2 to 4 weeks with the meniscus repair. So you got Amari Cooper, but he's going to see a shadow from Xavier Howard, and he is one of the premier elite cornerbacks in the league. I mean, are you kind of downgrading Cooper a little bit here?
No.
You're still
He's
down.
gonna,
I would
he's gonna
down
find plays where he gets away from him, and that's when they're gonna, because there really is no corner who's a full shadow anymore. And the thing with Dallas is I've watched their offense a little bit. They'll motion him, they'll put him into movement, they'll get him out of situations where he goes away from Xavier and Howard. So, he's been running. I forget how many snaps in the slot this year. It was like he's been running a lot more snaps in the slot. I don't think Howard goes to the slot. From the games I watched in Miami, I don't really see Howard in the slot. So for me, it's not really a worry, even though he has Howard. I know he shut down Gordon, but if you looked at Gordon, I watched the game, is Gordon stuck on the outside, and they're not moving him in motion like the Cowboys do with Cooper.
Yeah. I would just say give him a slight downgrade.
But I think you're still playing him if you have Cooper.
Yeah, most likely, yeah. Especially Gallup there. So that kind of leaves the door open. Maybe like a Devin Smith has a sneaky game with Xavier
like
Howard kind of following Cooper around. Maybe even like a Randall Cobb.
Yeah.
What's your guys' thoughts on those guys?
Sneaky. I'm actually playing Devin Smith as of right now, and it's a 3 wide receiver double flex league, so there's like a lot of spots to fill. But, I have him as my wide receiver 3 right now. I just think that with this game, a minus 22.5, I mean, geez, like, there's points to go around. I'm even flexing Jason Witten as a tight end flex spot in a league just because, there's just, like I said, I think there's just enough points to go around. I think anybody's going to be on this offense could be fantasy relevant. I don't know if you would lean Randall Cobb more than Devin Smith or.
I'll lean more on corner on the Cobb side.
Really?
Yeah. PPR wise, I think I'm leaning more towards Cobb because he plays that slot. But if I'm looking for the home run, who's the guy who's going to get me the 50-yard touchdown? It's probably Devin Smith.
And I think he can do that in this game, though.
Yeah.
That's why I like Devin Smith in this. I'm playing him, but
it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility, especially with Howard shadowing Cooper. One thing I can say about this offense is, though, is that, with Kellen Moore now the offensive coordinator, I mean, it's kind of like, you remember, like, I know you guys don't watch college too much, but, like, a couple years back, Boise State was one of the best offensive teams in college football. They're putting up, like, 50, 60 points every single week, and, the quarterback back then was Kellen Moore. So it's almost like he's incorporating that high-powered offense from the Boise State days into the Cowboys now with all the weapons they have. And you've really seen it kind of like come to fruition with like how good they're moving the ball. And Dak, I think he's like top. He's the second best quarterback, I think, behind Mahomes or Lamar Jackson or something stupid like that. So just good offense, like you said. I think there's definitely a good opportunity there. Witten, I think you're dialing him up in this one. Miami's given up the second most yards and the second most receptions to tight ends already.
I think they've given up kind of like the highest amount of passing yards, the highest amount of rushing yards.
Highest amount of points.
Just in general. Like I'm not trying to be a dick or anything, but that's why when we say play anybody on this offense, almost it's kind of the green light
for sure. Dallas defense is probably one of the best streaming defenses you could have.
I think we said it a little bit on the last podcast, but if you want to look ahead, the Chargers are playing the Dolphins next. That can make or break your game, your fantasy week. If you have a defense that's putting up 30-plus points, 20-plus points, even 15 points, it can really swing a whole matchup. So yeah, if Chargers defense are there, their matchup's not ideal this week, but not bad.
For sure. So jumping to the next game, we got the Giants traveling to Tampa Bay, going to play the Bucks. Bucks minus 6.5, 48 over under. You got the end of one era. Eli Manning's getting benched. The start of the Daniel Jones era. I mean, still even on that saying, I think Sterling Shepard might be coming back from the concussion. I'm not 100% sure. I think you just got to monitor that. But outside of Evan Ingram and Saquon Barkley, you feeling comfortable starting like a Sterling Shepard?
No.
And the defense, I'm not starting this defense either.
Yeah, no, it's pretty much. I mean, this was not to be like short and sweet.
Clear cut.
Yeah, it's pretty short and sweet. It's Evan Ingram and Saquon.
It's Saquon.
Do you think these guys, Evan Ingram and do you think Evan Ingram takes a hit with?
No,
I think he gets an uptick.
Yeah,
I think he gets an uptick with the whole rookie quarterback throwing a tight ends kind of situation. You got an Evan Ingram, big guy you can lead on. I like it actually this week.
For sure, yeah. On the Tampa Bay side of the ball here, I've been reading a lot of things about Winston, and it's like you want to drink the Kool-Aid again because the Giants' defense has not been good so far. Giving up a ton of passing yards to receivers, tight end, like they're just giving it up, and it just makes you think like, okay, like they're at home, they've got these weapons. And, you know, it makes me want to stream him. But are you drinking the Kool-Aid again?
I mean, what did he finish with last week? He didn't do crazy bad against the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean it's
but it's not. I'm not excited about it.
Is this his first home game?
No, they lost to the 49ers. Week 1.
Which the 49ers might be a decent defense. We still haven't. You know, it's 2 weeks. I know they played the Bucs and who they played last week? The Bengals.
The Bengals, yeah.
Yeah, but I think the 49ers might have a low key decent defense. You know, he did look okay against the Panthers in week 2. He's like I said, he's that quarterback. He'll make 11 good throws and 1 bad throw. 10
days to prepare. So since they played last Thursday, so extra time to prepare.
And I know that offense is hard to grasp, and I've said that before. So I don't mind it. I think he comes out and has at least a decent game, and you know he has the weapons to have some big plays. So you know, Giants defense isn't anything special, so I don't mind it.
For these running backs here, Peyton Barber, Ronald Jones.
No.
Peyton Barber had the good game last week.
I just don't like it, dude.
Barber's kind of like a Drake guy to me again. Like, here's a running back where I'm not psyched to throw in my lineup, but for the depth of what he is, you know, if I get injuries, bye weeks coming up, I want him on my bench at least.
This is
just to have the depth.
I suppose because someone might play him against you, but this is my thing with that though. Is like, it doesn't matter the matchup. Like, this is a pretty decent matchup. I feel like going against the Giants. Do you feel confident playing Peyton Barber?
Well, no, that's why I don't have any of those guys on my team.
That's what I'm saying is like if you drop Peyton, like my dad, okay, like for example, in a standard scoring setting, my dad dropped Peyton Barber, and for me, like, as much as it, like, yeah, he could be somebody, there's not really a week where I'm going to feel super confident playing Peyton Barber.
Yeah.
So me letting him go off of my lineup, it's like, yeah, it sucks. Like he went and picked up Adrian Peterson for Peyton Barber because that's just what his bench was. That was like kind of his worst guy.
Yeah.
And
I would rather have AP.
Yeah, and I mean I'm not mad at that in that situation, but just a thought for these Bucks. I just don't think there's.
I'd rather let him be a landmine for someone else.
I just don't think there's a week that you're gonna play him. It doesn't matter the matchup. I feel like I never feel confident playing any Bucks quarterback. Eat that too
until Kenyon Drake's there.
Yeah.
Move over to the receivers. I mean, Chris Godwin, fire him up.
Chris Godwin's looking like the number 1 over there recently.
Yeah. I mean, through 2 weeks, he has. I know Mike Evans was sick the first week. The second week, he could have had a touchdown or two. Jameis Winston missed him he missed him on a route where as soon as he caught it, he could have turned in for a touchdown right there. So he could have had a little bit better game. I know he threw to him one of the plays too towards the end where he kind of like threw him off too. So I mean, Evans wasn't too far away from having a pretty good game. You still fire up Evans. I mean, if you could still try and buy low on him, if you're making trades today or tomorrow, whenever you hear this, I would.
Yeah. His catch percentage is just down. The targets are still there. The catch percentage isn't as good as you want it to be. But something I saw on him was they're saying that his average yards per target is actually the highest it's ever been in his entire career. So that's a good stat you like to see. They're hitting him deep. They're looking for him deep, you know. O.J. Howard's probably the guy who I know we were big on O.J. Howard coming to the year, and it's
Bruce Arians' offense.
It's been a stinker. He puts up the goose egg last week. I mean, the Giants are the 3rd worst team against tight ends. You know, when you hear that,
they were like the 1st worst last year.
And
so it's been like 2 years.
Yeah, you're thinking like this is either like a put up or a shut up game here. I mean, just some numbers on O.J. Howard. It's kind of, these numbers are crazy actually, but like in week 1, he ran 55% of the snaps he ran a route on. And then in week 2, that number actually went up to 69%. So he ran more routes in week 2 than he did in week 1. And then Brate's snap percentage in terms of routes run, his went from 48 to 31%. So his went down. So O.J. Howard getting more snaps out there. I did see a highlight where they were showing a play where O.J. Howard went right down the seam and like there was like nobody by him, and like, he literally ran into like he was like pretty much standing in the middle of the end zone for like a 20-30 yard touchdown, and but Winston threw like a 4-yard pass to Brate. So it's like, is it O.J. Howard or is it just Jameis Winston's not that good?
I think it's, I don't know.
I mean, yeah. Okay, so wait. I mean,
you got a game where if he doesn't put it up this game, then I'm on high alert. But I do think better.
I think
days
it's a bounce
are ahead.
back. I think it's just part of the system growing. He is getting used as a blocker too. couple other things, but I mean,
When Bruce Arians got asked about O.J. Howard, his response was, "The balls will come,"
yeah.
which is true in a lot of senses. But anyways,
All right. Anyways,
Yeah, I think too. It's like teams are going to start to focus a little bit more on Chris Godwin too. They're going to start trying to take him away a little bit. They're going to give some. I think things should open up. I don't think it's. And someone said there was a holding penalty too. I think it was. I always watch a lot of the ESPN clips, or the app clips. And I think it was the ESPN one where they were like, "Oh, he did have like a something 25-yard touchdown play called back as a holding or something like that, or potential where he was, I don't know, something like that." But I'm still starting him. If it's a bust this week, then like Tyler said, it's high alert.
yeah, DEFCON 4.
Yeah.
Let's.
That's it.
You
Bucks
want
defense?
I mean, you're saying low key they've been kind of good.
Yeah, I mean they've been.
Rookie's first start on the road.
They blitz more than anyone in the league. It's at home. I mean, I don't mind it.
Yeah.
get a little sacks?
Not a lot of weapons for him outside of the Evan Ingram and Saquon Barkley.
Yeah. Their run defense has been really good too. I think they were one of the top 5 in terms of yards per carry allowed. The Buccaneers front 7.
They drafted the D tackle the first round last year, and then they got Sue this year. So
yeah. Next game right here, we got the Carolina Panthers going to the desert, going to play the Phoenix. Did I say Phoenix Cardinals?
They started out as the Phoenix Cardinals actually their first year, so not too far off.
All right, Arizona Cardinals. They're -2.5, 44.5 over under. I think the big news here is that it's looking like Cam Newton's not going to play. So you have this backup quarterback, Kyle Allen, Josh Allen's baby brother. He's coming in. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh. It's the new Manning brothers.
So, yeah, he steps in. So, I mean, you're not starting him, but Chris McCaffrey, bounce back game for him. And then, but I think what it is, do you think having this backup quarterback is going to affect DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel? I mean, do you still die on these guys?
Still starting DJ
they
Moore.
Lower end, like wide receiver 3s, flex guys.
I kind of trust in North Turner, so I'm still firing up DJ Moore. I mean, he's been a target machine. He's someone I was gonna buy low on before the Cam injury. I think if he has another high target game with like another 7 for 70 or something like that, or 6 for 85, I think Cam will be back soon. I'm gonna try and buy him after this week.
DJ Moore.
Yeah, he's one of. I think he's on the verge of like a not necessarily breakout, but I think he's on the verge of like a top 18 year.
Yeah.
He just hasn't
making that next leap. Yeah.
And he's that like. Last year he led the league in yards after catch or like most elusive, and like he hasn't even done that yet to that extent. He hasn't like had those big breakaway plays, and I think those are coming. And I think he's, like I said, on the verge of like breaking out if he doesn't have a huge game this week as it is.
Yeah, I mean the Cardinals are still without Patrick Peterson, their other defensive back. He's out for the year. He broke his leg, I think. So they're a bottom 5 pass defense. I'm definitely not against that. I think what it is right here, we kind of touched on it before. I think that one of the trends that we're starting to see is, you start your tight ends against the Cardinals. Back-to-back weeks, these tight ends, Hawkinson had 100-plus yards. Next week, Mark Andrews, 100-plus yards. And Greg Olsen, he's been targeted 9 times in back-to-back games. He's running around on 80% of the dropbacks. Here's a guy, I think he was available in 40% of the leagues. Here's a guy, he'd probably be top 8 play for me, realistically.
Yeah.
So if you have him, I'm definitely dialing him up.
Do you think it's a downtick or uptick with Kyle Allen?
I mean, you've kind of touched on it more than anyone. You said you're getting a backup guy in. He kind of leans on the tight end.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think too.
So, and like I said, that they're the worst team against tight ends through the first 2 weeks, and I think this is going to be a trend.
Carolina's going to exploit that.
Yeah. Panthers defense, I wouldn't do that. You got Murray in this high powered passing attack. Bound to put up some type of points here. But speaking of Kyler Murray, would you be dialing him up?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you have him, you might have 2 quarterbacks. But he's in that fringe, like top 12 quarterback for me, top 8, top 12, somewhere in that range.
If the 10-ish range.
Yeah, I think if he just needs to start running the ball, and he's going to be a lot safer. He hasn't ran it through the first 2 games.
Yeah,
which has been surprising.
Yeah,
but they are throwing the ball more than anyone.
Yeah. But I'm saying to where he hasn't thrown a ton of touchdowns yet, but he throws his 50 passes. If he would at least get 5-6 rushes for another 40 yards.
He did pretty decent going into Baltimore.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm just saying if he starts running the ball a little bit, I think it's just going to make you more confident starting him week to week.
But I'm just saying, like, for his first road game, going into Baltimore,
tough defense.
historically a great defense, you know, it's kind of impressive that he didn't just blow the game.
For sure, yeah.
Especially with, I mean, yeah.
No, for sure, I agree. So David Johnson, you're dialing him up. And then it's these receivers right here. You got Larry Legend and Christian Kirk. These guys, I think they both posted back-to-back 100-plus yard games. With how much they're throwing the ball and how bad that defense is, they have to, keep pace with these teams. I think these guys are pretty much set it and forget it each week,
Yeah, you can start both those guys.
with the amount of volume they're getting,
And they don't throw to the tight end.
Safe floors
Yeah.
for those guys. They don't have a tight end like you just said, and the Cardinals defense definitely not. So we jump into the next matchup. We got the Saints are going to travel to Seattle, play the Seahawks. Seahawks are -4, 45-point over-under. So it's the first game without Drew Brees here for the Saints.
Drew Brees?
Did they say who's Drew Brees?
We got Teddy Big Totters,
His fingers.
Bridgewaters.
So for the Saints side of the ball, outside of Kamara and Michael Thomas, but maybe Jared Cook. I think those are probably the only three guys that you're even considering. Kamara and Michael Thomas, you're still dialing them up. I'm not worried about their production or their workloads.
I'm not even dialing up Jared Cook. It's just those two.
Jared Cook would be, I guess, the guy right there. What is it about Jared Cook that you're just...
It's just in the scheme, his target distribution, like it was... With Drew Brees, it wasn't anything.
Yeah.
So I find it hard to believe that Teddy Bridgewater, who's not Drew Brees, is going to, he's going to see an uptick in targets and whatnot. So,
yeah. With Kamara only had 3 targets last week. I would like to think, game planning for this week, they want to get him more involved in the passing game. He realistically needs to see like 8 to 10 targets, for them to be successful and move the ball. On the other side of the ball right here, you got Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. What guys over here are you dialing up? Is it Lockett, Carson?
Lockett, Carson.
I think Carson's a set it and forget it every week.
He just needs a hole in the football.
What?
So he needs to hold on to the football.
If Peyton Barber could look good against this, no, I'm thinking about the wrong team. Never mind. Totally read that wrong.
You're talking about Rashad Penny?
No, I looked at the matchups wrong for a second.
Texans.
Oh no, you good?
Carson, Lockett. I think
who's the slot receiver in
DK
Seattle?
Metcalf's kind of interesting in this matchup.
I just think the guy I'm thinking of is PJ Williams on the other side. I'm just saying matchup wise.
Yeah, Lockett's going to be a
monster.
monster.
Tyler Lockett, so
yeah.
He was like 10 catches last week, I think, right? He might be another 10 catches.
Yeah, so you like DK Metcalf though?
No, I'm saying he's an interesting kind of like John Ross type of play where he's like that. He has like 50% of the team's air yards.
He's doing a lot better than I thought he was going to do.
I think he fell into the perfect situation to where it's like he has a quarterback where, one, he doesn't need to run a specific route, like a lot of routes on his route tree. He can run a few, and Russell Wilson's going to put the ball where it needs to be to give him an opportunity to come down with, those 50-50 balls.
You know what another thing is, too, is Russell Wilson extends plays to a point where you're no longer in a route. You're just kind of
Yeah. DK Metcalf has a chance to do what he needs to do in that
right.
10 seconds, but 6 seconds where he, buys time.
Right. Like Russell Wilson will throw the ball after holding the ball for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
12 seconds.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen. But yeah.
What do you guys think? Seahawks -4, Saints +4. Random question.
In Seattle, if it was in New Orleans, it'd be a different story. We got Teddy Bridgewater back there. I would go Seahawks -4.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to say, but yeah, I like it. Russell Wilson's doing the opposite of what he usually does. He usually shows up a little bit later. He's been doing pretty good. I think they're 2-0, Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They beat the Bengals and
Yeah, pretty good.
they won against
They beat
the Steelers.
2 AFC North teams. Sick.
Anything else you want to touch on that matchup right there?
No, this.
Are you playing
it's kind of
Seahawks
pretty
defense?
standard so far in these matchups.
Yeah.
So these matchups have been like, you kind of know there's not too much to.
Yeah.
Kind of know the guys are starting in these.
I'm not starting Seahawks defense. I think we saw that the Cowboys were available in like 60% or 40% of the league, something like that. So I'd be down them.
Yeah, this is what my line for defense is: Cowboys, Chargers,
Redskins.
Yeah, week 6. I would say Green Bay maybe.
Yeah, Green Bay's a nice one too this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we jump to the next one. We got the Texans.
Texans.
They're going to travel to the soccer stadium and play the Chargers. Chargers are -3. 48.5 point over-under. What's your guys' thoughts on this one? Texans side of the ball, Deshaun Watson,
DeAndre Hopkins.
I think Will Fuller breaks through in this one. I think he finally hits that home run that we've kind of been missing. You know, I know him and Watson have that connection. I think this is a game where he can finally come out and get it done.
Yeah, I kind of like that because we talked about that last week episode. I started Marvin because the Chargers have two not elite corners, but pretty much elite corners actually, and Desmond King and I was fucking up Brett, or what's the other corner?
Casey Hayward.
And the other corner is just Mikey Davis is hurt. I'll say because I know him. So the other corner he's out. So it's like. Well, it's like I know he's out, so it's the backup corner is like the weak spot, and that's gonna probably be Will Fuller's spot. Yeah. So it's like in the slot you're gonna have a mixture of Stills, QD, and you're gonna have Will Fuller on the outside. So I think there's a good chance for him to catch one of those bombs, maybe even two, this week.
I think a big game is coming. For how like hyper efficient him and Watson have been, with the touchdowns that they create together. It's been a couple games he hasn't had a touchdown, so I think he's just kind of due for one. And this is just a gut feeling,
One thing I should have thought about was last week, the Jaguars almost beat the Texans. I should have thought about that if I were to bet on the game. Yeah. I think that's probably why you took Jaguars money line. Yeah, today's game against the Titans.
Jaguars money line.
Very good, boy.
I guess we can move into the running backs. Are we
Carlos Hyde and Duke Johnson?
Yeah.
It seems like Carlos Hyde is
he's doing okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had 80+ rushing yards. I think it was like the first week it was like 10 for 80 something, and then the next week it was 20 for 90 something. So on a yards per carry basis, he's doing really good. One thing I can say about this matchup is so far the Chargers have allowed the third most rushing yards in the league. I mean, they gave up that monster week 1 to Marlon Mack. I'm not mad at Hyde this week. I think he's this back end RB2. I kind of touched on it before. It's almost like he's in that Lamar Miller tier. Maybe he's not exactly like a Lamar Miller. Yeah, but he's in like that tier of what he was in this offense because of how good the offense is.
It's like a Lamar Miller light. Yeah. Like Lamar Miller was like a mid to back end RB2. He was like, like 12 to 20 in a given week. Probably if you're gonna rank Lamar Miller, you rank him 12 to 20 probably in that range. You're ranking Carlos Hyde probably more in the 18 to 25 range, where it's like he's still just because the offense. He's kind of, just kind of like he says Lamar Miller light.
Duke had 60%. Looks like. Wait.
In the first week,
our Hyde got 60%.
They flip flopped the next week, 60-40.
And Duke's not really catching the ball too. So
Duke only got 6 carries this past game.
Well, we didn't notice that Watson doesn't really target the running backs too much.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have guys like DeAndre Hopkins and Will Fuller stretching the field, and then the ability for him to run the ball as well. Yeah, he wasn't really targeting the running backs too much there. Yeah, but I like Hyde this one. I think it's a sneaky good play.
Not mad at it.
He was available in like 50% of leagues. Go out if he's out there for some reason. People slept on him in these waivers. Go grab him. Go get him for free. Even better.
If he's hiding on your waiver wire, seek him out.
If he's hiding on the waiver wire.
Yeah, I mean Marlon Mack got 175 yards.
Wave that wire.
Marlon Mack got 175 yards against the Chargers.
Yeah.
Just putting that out there.
It's just science, dude.
Just science, dude. 2 + 2 = 4. Fucking play Carlos Hyde, you fuck.
Chargers.
We go to Chargers side of the bowl.
I always want to say San Diego.
Me too.
I can they just go back to San Diego? It's a lot more fun when they were there.
Yeah, for real. San Diego's kind of a cool city to go to. Yeah. Let's go to watch a Padres game. Yeah, okay.
The Chargers side of the ball. Phillip Rivers? I don't hate it.
There's worse plays.
It's a 40. This is the second highest over under. Texans should be able to score. The Chargers should be able to score. I think this is one of the matchups where it's like I've kind of been like whatever on Phillip Rivers, but I think this might be one of his better matchups so far in the season.
Do you like Phillip Rivers or Kyler Murray?
I go Kyler.
Where we at? I'd go.
Third one.
I go Rivers.
Yeah. Okay.
What about Jameis or Rivers?
Just because of safety, I'd go Rivers.
It's like Rivers has the safety, but I think his ceiling is capped at a point to where we could see Jameis throw for 303 potentially.
But I think it's
but then
the-
he could also have like 150 and 1 and 3 picks.
But
Yeah.
I think in this game where I'm saying compared to other games I talked about is, I think his floor is a little lifted in this game and his ceiling's a little higher than normal. Just because I think due to the game script and they might throw a little bit more and the more points should be scored in this game.
I think this could be a shootout game right here. Texans Chargers 48.5.
Yeah,
Over
and that's kind of what I'm saying
one
is
of the
like
higher over under.
this is possibly like a shootout, and that's what I'm thinking. Like this is like his best potential game script so far.
Yeah. What about like a Rivers or Garoppolo?
Rivers.
Rivers.
Yeah.
What about Rivers or Baker?
I was gonna say
Rivers.
I'm gonna
I got
Garoppolo
Rivers
go.
pretty high this week.
I think he got it. Yeah, he's moving up.
Might be a top 8 play.
I was literally about to say that. No, it wasn't. Yes, it was. Okay.
He has those games.
Chargers
He hasn't had it
defense.
No. Yes. No.
I'm
No.
playing Chargers defense just because I
If you're in
want
a
them next
4-point
week.
sack league, yes. Deshaun Watson's been sacked, I think it's 4 times in 8 games straight, and no one's ever been sacked 9 games straight 4 times
Until Sunday.
until Sunday. So I'm saying if you're in a 4-point sack league,
Bummer,
Nice.
dude. I mean, at least it's not as bad as Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota got sacked 9
9
times tonight.
Yeah. All right, so for the running back situation here, Eckler has just been, Melvin Gordon, who, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I saw something funny, like someone tweeted Melvin Gordon, like Melvin Gordon, who, like Eckler's better,
He
and
just
he just like
retweeted it,
retweeted it.
He's just like, fuck it.
I feel like Eckler's like, don't trade. I feel like don't trade Eckler. I'll just touch on this real quick. We're starting Eckler, but don't trade him because I think of the reason, like, yeah, your window's like a 3, 4, 5 week window, whatever we have left, maybe 2. But I think you might be 5-0 because you have Eckler 6-0.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's like you burnt that 6th round, whatever, 7th round pick, 8, whatever it was, 5th. And to be like possibly 5-0 or have 4-1, one of the top records, it's like even if he comes back, you can worry about it at that point. He might not even ever come back. So,
Yeah.
I feel like don't sell high on Eckler because he could, like I had James Conner last year in 2 leagues and like he got me to like 8-2 in some leagues and then I lost him because of injury. But it's like he got me to that point where it's like, I made moves. I picked up running backs by then where it's like even when I lost him, it was like all right, cool. Like I got someone else who can slot in there who can get me, good production. So just kind of on that, don't really sell high on Eckler. I think you can, buy yourself, a 5-0 record or 4-1 or 6-0 record by that time just because he's been a fucking monster. So,
Dude, in one league, I have someone dropped Melvin Gordon. I picked up Melvin Gordon, but I also have Justin Jackson and I have Austin Eckler.
Unless you have all 3 running
I
backs.
literally have every running back for the Chargers.
I mean, Justin Jackson looks good on his own too, bro. He hasn't got a lot of carries, but like
He's not bad.
he's got like
dude.
a 20. It's not that high, but his yards per carry is probably like 8 or 9.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. But the snaps percentage is like 70-30.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
feel
fantasy wise, fantasy relevancy, you're right.
Eckler's the RB1 right now, right?
Yeah.
He's the
Yeah.
highest scorer. So.
Yeah, he has the most rushing yards.
I mean,
think.
Justin Jackson is one of those. It's a weird handcuff situation, but he's like a high-end handcuff
Yeah.
because it's like we think Melvin Gordon's coming back, but if anything happens to Eckler, like Justin Jackson's like a instant like top 8 running back.
Yeah.
I mean, even if Melvin Gordon does come back, like you said, maybe he doesn't. I still think Eckler has some
still has a
standalone
role.
value where he,
Yeah, how are
he
you
would
gonna-
still be a flex guy or even a low end RB2.
I mean, yeah,
that you could play week in and week out.
That's like worst case scenario for Melvin Gordon right now is for Austin Eckler to be doing so well.
I honestly don't think he comes back until week 11 ish because that's when he has to technically come back until he can to get
Free agency.
credit for the for the contract. So that's just my honest opinion. I think he waits to the very last minute and then he comes in, finishes out the year because he still gets paid a little bit of money and then he becomes a free agent. But we'll see how that plays out. The receivers here: Keenan Allen, PPR machine, and then I guess the question mark here would be Mike Williams. Week 1, bad matchup. They also got hurt, so he left the game early. And then week 2, was limited to practices on limited snaps, but not a bad game. I think he had like 3 catches for 80 yards or something like that.
Yeah.
So he actually dropped a touchdown. Could have had a better game. They threw him like a little 5-yard fade route, and the ball literally, while I was watching the game, the ball literally just went right through his hands.
Who, Mike Williams?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that too.
So he could have had a touchdown too, but I mean, he looked pretty good. Did you see the catch where he was running down the sideline? He like dove for it.
Yeah,
the DB was gonna go pick it, and he dove in front of the DB and caught it. So he's still good. I think better days are ahead here. I like him in this matchup. He's been practicing fully in practice, so the knee should be okay. And with no Hunter Henry there, he's the clear cut red zone guy because we do know Keenan Allen. He's never really been like a high
Mike Williams,
volume touchdown guy.
Mike Williams or Larry Fitzgerald.
Ooh, Larry.
Larry's
Larry's getting targeted deep
getting,
now.
Yeah, he's getting targets.
It's not just underneath stuff. It's
yeah.
like it's deep routes. Larry might be a top 15 play this year.
Edit lineup.
At 45.
Asking for a friend. No, I do like Mike Williams this week though. Maybe I'm a little bit
Me
more
too.
biased because more of like a man crush guy. But
flex spot David Montgomery. Okay, I'll stop there.
anyways, all right. So
set Mike's lineup for him.
yeah,
Keenan Allen said you're starting him.
you said it. Forget it. PPR
Yeah.
machine. The
Hunter
floor
Henry.
is so safe for him.
I want to see Hunter Henry in this matchup.
Stephen A. Smith live on the pod.
All right, so we got this next matchup. We got your Steelers going to San Francisco, play the 49ers. Niners minus 6.5, 44-point over under. Start on the Steelers side of the ball here. No Big Ben is the beginning
Rudolph
of the
the
Mason
red-nosed reindeer.
Rudolph era.
Sorry, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer.
I kind of want to grab him in like some leagues and just see.
I'm not mad at that.
I think it's one of
stash.
I feel like out of the quarterbacks starting, it's like, okay, he's not going to get benched either. It's like if Daniel Jones has a good game or two, it's like he's going to get benched. Zach Allen's on a leash. Like, if let's just say the off chance Mason Rudolph is something, and he's like, this is still a Steelers system.
Yeah.
Sometimes we see systems be more productive to.
I mean, the O line's
It's not
still
the
pretty.
player. Sorry.
I was gonna say
still good.
The
Yeah.
O line's still good in Pittsburgh. I know James
Yeah.
Conner hasn't been doing very good, but
It's like, maybe it's just the Steelers system. It's like no matter. I mean, they had some bad backups. Like if he's an above average, maybe the system can lead to him being like a. I mean, maybe he's better at this point in his career. Maybe he's better than Big Ben. I mean, it's not to. I mean, Big Ben's a little
Right.
older now, and he had AB last year.
And low-key, Big Ben came into like a perfect situation when he got drafted. He had Troy Polamalu on defense. He had fucking Hines Ward. He had Jerome Bettis. He had kind of like everything going for him.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe he is something. So I kind of want to just grab him before, like, which is if he goes out and throws for 303, everyone's gonna be trying to grab him. So it's like,
Yeah, it's a good stash. I'm not mad at that at all.
yeah, and it's like if he goes out, and if he's a bum, then whatever.
Are you playing him? Are you playing him this week?
No.
Definitely not.
But are you like maybe stashing
good
him?
stash. I like that.
Yeah.
James Conner, I think you're playing him
If he
no matter
plays.
what.
Yeah, he,
If he-
fully practiced.
yeah,
so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're still playing James Conner. You're playing Juju. I think you got to go with the Van stance, especially because last week, he did throw 2 touchdowns to him, and I think that makes you okay that he's going to target him some. I know you guys like James Washington. I like him too, but I don't think I'm starting him in this matchup yet until I see a full game. And
Yeah.
I've seen people dropping James Washington. I picked him up in 2 leagues. People dropped him.
after this week, they dropped him.
Yeah, I don't know.
really?
I don't know.
They must not watch podcast.
That's one thing. Yeah, Chip, follow us, you idiots.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Why is so fucking stupid?
why is everyone so fucking stupid? No, what's it called? What was I gonna say? James Washington picked him up. Oh, that I was just gonna say.
Brother of George Washington.
What I do, like we didn't talk. Yeah, brother of George Washington. Unlike George Washington, he tells lies all the time. Or is that Abe Lincoln? I don't know.
It's Abe Lincoln.
Okay, got them all confused. Cherry tree, he chops a fucking pineapple tree. Whatever. Let's go. What am I talking about? Oh,
No.
wait. I was gonna say that like a lot of these finds I find on the picking up guys. Yeah, what I do is I just look. I'm sure you guys do the same thing. Is after the waiver goes through, I go and check that recent activity.
Yeah, I do too.
Go into your league. Go press recent activity if you're on the ESPN app. I think it's league transactions on the Yahoo app. But dude, that I'll find like the craziest drops. Like I found Melvin Gordon. Someone dropped Melvin Gordon. I mean, they probably wasted like a 5th or 6th round pick or on fucking Melvin Gordon, and they just dropped him. I know it's not like ideal, but you never know, dude. Something could happen, and he comes back.
Hit the percentage of own button too that time because if it's someone like Melvin Gordon, he's not going to show up on the
projection.
Transaction, because it goes to like transaction trends.
But if you go to percentage owned, he'll shoot up to probably like one of the top like
right,
Yeah,
5-10 players.
definitely.
Just to touch on what you said.
Yeah. Or if that player's on a bye week for some reason.
Yeah.
Just a little pro tip.
Pro
just
tip, get
while
better,
we're at
bitches.
it. James Washington.
I do like James Washington this week. I'm kind of in a situation where I have AJ Green, he's out, and then I have Gallup who was breaking out, but he's hurt. So I'm pretty thin at wide receiver right now, and there's really not anyone on the waiver wire.
Waiver wire.
That league too, we get bonuses for 40-yard touchdown passes. Obviously, Washington is the field stretcher guy. Him and Rudolph have that deep connection. So I'm throwing in my lineup. I'm swinging for the fences with him. Is what it is.
I think
if he has a bust game, it is what it is. But could he get me a 3 for 110 and a touchdown? Like, that's kind of what I'm trying to get.
Yeah,
possibly out of that.
I mean, Steelers are pretty irritated with Dante Moncrief. He's dropping passes left and fucking right. Yeah, I could see them throwing James Washington out there.
I think we talked about it last time. Like, with Rudolph being the quarterback now, I think it only makes sense to get one of his guys in there that he's more comfortable with compared to Moncrief, who's not getting it done.
Right. Yeah, I think in that type of situation, sure, play James Washington. Yeah. Otherwise, I would not.
So what about the Steelers defense right here? They went out, they traded a first-round pick for Minka Fitzpatrick. He was the Dolphins' first-round pick last year. As a Dolphin fan, me and Anthony, I think we could say this. Like, Minka is the guy where he's going to be a future Pro Bowler. Like, he's good. Yeah. We just didn't use him right. And I'm kind of thinking, like, maybe the Steelers' defenses could be a sneaky pickup.
They're going to let him play. Forward. They're not going to force him to try and play corner or anything like that. They're going to let him play safety.
That's what he is. He is.
Yeah, so that's what.
He's like a 95 against the run in Pro Football Focus, which means he fucks against the run. He just walks up and fucks you. He's like, oh, shit, I got tackled.
He's like, oh, dude, get raped. Penetrated. Yeah, I mean, I think
there's sneaky good defense going forward. We're going to be talking about streaming them going forward.
What defense?
Matchups.
Oh yeah, Steelers. Yes, I mean that's all the past like 3 or 4 years. First round picks have been defensive guys. So
yeah, I'd probably hold off on this matchup. See what the rookie does, because if it's ugly, the 49ers could put up a ton of points.
Yeah, but they're playing Minka for sure.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm saying from like a time of possession. Like if he doesn't go out there and he can't move. He's struggling his first game. The 49ers could put up points because they dominate the clock. And that's why I'd stay away in week 1. But like Tyler said, there could be some going forward.
For sure. Jump on the 49ers side of the ball here. You got Jimmy G. He had a good game. I think he had like over 303.
He was Jimmy Jesus last week.
300 yards, 3 touchdowns. I think it was.
Jimmy Garoppolo, go.
I mean, one thing I say is whoever we can go out there and play running back for them, and we're gonna put up some fantasy points. It literally seems like they can get anybody out there and and they just get it done.
Kyle Juszczyk, Mostert, Burita,
all of them.
Coleman.
So are you starting Jimmy G right here, or just a double quarterback kind of guy? I actually have Jimmy G in one league. I had Big Ben. I lost him, so I picked him up as my backup. And I have Wentz. So right now I have Wentz in. But the wheels have been turning. Do I make the switch? Do I throw in Jimmy G for like this possible maybe 300-yard game? Wentz. I mean, there's no Aguilar. I mean, there's no Alshon Jeffrey. There's no Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, I think you got to wait and see. I would wait if I was you. I'd wait and see who. If Jeffrey's active, it's makes the decision a little tougher. I know we touched on Goddard. I think he might more than likely is active. But if those two guys are out, then maybe you got to reevaluate. Yeah. But I don't mind it this week. I think he's a decent play. The offense is looking better. He did tear his ACL and miss a whole year.
Yeah.
We can't forget he didn't play for a whole season. Maybe the first week was just him getting back in the swing of things. People don't really play preseason anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like basically game one is like
a warm up.
Yeah, it's like your warm up. So we saw him last week have some success, and I don't mind it this week. And if he has another good week, we got to reevaluate. Is he going to be a top 15 play going forward?
Yeah. So the running back situation, Tevin Coleman's still out. I actually saw him being dropped in some leagues. I mean, I would probably go grab him. I know these other running backs are putting up some pretty good points, but like half of that for Jeff Wilson Jr., even Mostert, that kind of came in garbage time last week against the Bengals. They already had a big lead. Breida's probably the guy you're definitely starting. But from Mostert to Jeff Wilson Jr., I mean, what do you guys do with those kind of guys right there?
I'm starting Breida, and that's probably
pretty
it.
Much, yeah.
It was a blowout last week for the most part, so I think it was just Breida hasn't been the healthiest back, so I think they wanted to keep him healthy. There will be a timeshare, but it's like as of right now, it's Breida 1, and then the other 2 guys are mixing in. And
what about Tevin Coleman? If he's out there on the waiver wire, would you go try to grab him, throw him on your bench?
Yeah, how far is he out? 3-4 weeks?
It's a high ankle sprain, so that's usually probably 3-4 weeks. So he's probably halfway there, I'd say.
I don't know if I want to hold him for 3 weeks. That's kind of my personal opinion. It depends on my bench size and how I'm at running back. If I'm thin at running back, then if I have like 4 or 5 running backs, I'm good. But if I have like 2 and I'm like some sketchy starters, I grab him. But if I have like, one league in particular, I have like 5 running backs. I'm not even considering him.
Yeah.
I don't want to burn a spot for another 3-4 weeks when I can pick up maybe a receiver or tight end or somewhere else I need to make a move at.
Yeah, okay, I feel you.
It's kind of roster dependent in a situation like that.
Receiver wise here, I mean, this receiving core is, for me, it's just it's too murky. It's like playing Russian roulette. Like, remember last year we'd say like hold a gun to my head, who you're
Jaguars,
picking? Yeah, we'd be like pull the trigger. That's how I feel.
Yeah. It's gonna everyone's like, oh, Debo Samuel, it'll probably be a good one this week, or maybe it'll be Pettis.
Pettis out of
Pettis
nowhere.
come back from the dead.
And they still got Jalen Hurd, who's
Full
If
on
anyone,
Decker.
I like Marquise Goodwin if I'm going to play anybody.
I feel like you say that every week,
Yeah.
but I like it.
I mean, that's who I would play. I have Dante Pettis and Marquise Goodwin in the league.
Yeah,
And
I like it.
I played Marquise Goodwin, and I have not played Dante Pettis.
playing wide receiver roulette over here with this
Yeah.
one. So
You're starting Kittle.
you're
Niners
starting
defense?
Kittle.
Niners defense isn't bad. Going up a rookie quarterback first
At home.
game. Yeah, they're playing at home. Quarterback
Yeah.
on the road.
They've been a pretty high sack defense too. So,
Yeah, I'm not mad. It's not a bad matchup.
all right, we got our last game right here.
Last game, Rams playing the Cleveland Browns. Do a Brown noise.
Is that a ram or just? Oh Jesus Christ! You just headbutted the mic like a ram.
I rammed it.
Rammed
Sure did, didn't you?
Audio's cut for the rest of the
His mic just wasn't working, bro. That between you punching, headbutting, and fucking spitting in your mic, I just added the last
I
one.
like spitting in my mic's mouth.
We got the Rams playing in Cleveland against the Baker Mayfields. Rams are -3, over under 48. I like the Rams in this.
I do as well.
I do as well.
-3.
I like the
I think that
under
line's gonna
is
move.
what I like in this. I think
Aaron Donald's gonna be like,
I
hey,
think
mate,
pretty
here you
good
go.
defenses. The Rams, Goff, he tends to struggle on the road, and then Baker, he just hasn't looked all that great. That offensive line is shaky. Now you have to go up against Clay Matthews and Aaron Donald. Pretty good secondary there. I'm a little worried for Baker in this one. We'll just start on the Rams side of the ball here. With that being said about Goff, I mean, we talk about Big Ben, and a couple of these other quarterbacks having some home road splits, but Goff's
Golf?
Golf.
Jared Golf?
He loves being in the
his home road
Coliseum.
splits are they're there. They're real. So just a status on here. It was saying like what's
Interesting
it?
stat.
Interesting stat. So five of his 6 best outings last year came in LA at the Coliseum, while 6 of his 7 worst games were on the road. So not playing that good on the road. He had 7 games where on the road he didn't even eclipse 240 yards. 7 different times he did that. That's not good, especially with all the mouths to feed there. You got Kupp.
It is weird
You got
because
the running backs, Cooks, Woods. Yeah.
it is weird because the Coliseum doesn't seem like it would be like a home field advantage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I guess, I don't know, for the Chargers it isn't.
Yeah.
But they share a stadium, right?
If the Browns call, I'll
No,
see
I'm
them.
tripping.
No, they play at that soccer field. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
They share a stadium
you're
with
not
USC.
playing Jared Goff then this week?
I'd be fading Goff, yeah.
I think so too.
It's crazy to say, but like I said, there's 7 times last year where he didn't even throw more than 240 yards. That's worrisome right there.
This offense hasn't looked at last 2018 Rams or 20. How years did they good? 2, 1. They were good for 2 years, right? How many years has McVay been there? 2. This is the 3rd one.
Yeah, because it was Jeff
Yeah.
Fisher in 2016.
It hasn't looked the same yet. Like it's. I feel like it's been like. I know they tried to make some changes, and I think they're kind of like off to a little bit slower start than normal. Just to touch on already what Tyler said too,
Yeah, because I lost. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
because they lost.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm fading Jared Goff as well. I think you still start the receivers though, because they still get their yardage, and I don't know if I'm benching Kupp. I don't think I'm really benching Woods. I don't think I'm benching Cooks either.
I think the one that worries me the most would probably be Cooks. He is like the deep threat kind of guy. I mean, he does get these short intermediate routes, but he should see Denzel Ward more than anyone.
Yeah.
So then, with Goff not being as good on the road, and then Denzel Ward now covering Cooks, I'm downgrading Cooks.
Yeah.
I think Woods, he had a bad game last week, but he also had I saw something saying like where due to penalties, he had lost 5 receptions and a touchdown due to penalties.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you throw that touchdown in there, a couple of those catches, he could have had a monster game. I think Cooper Kupp is probably the safest one here. Like I said, who does he want to lean on? In tough games, tough road matchup games, he probably leans on Kupp more than all 3 of those guys. So I'd probably rank them Kupp, Woods, and then Cooks out of those 3 for this week.
Would you play Woods or Nelson Aguilar?
Woods.
Very good.
You're starting Gurley. Rams D.
I'm not mad at Rams D. I mean, we saw what the Titans defense did in Cleveland against the Browns. Like I said, that offensive line isn't very good. And, I mean, you got Aaron Donald, who's the back-to-back defensive MVP. And then I think people forget that they have Clay Matthews, who's one of the better edge rushers in the NFL. And then solid corners. I mean, sign Eric Weddle. This defense is still really good. So I'm not mad at them.
Brown side of the pelota.
With that being said, the defense, I'm kind of worried for Baker. I mean, he might be outside of my top 10.
Yeah, I don't, the Rams D has been playing pretty good actually for the first 2 weeks. They've been tough.
You going Baker or Goff just inside this matchup?
Neither.
Yeah, pull the trigger.
Picking up.
I'll
pick up Andy Dalton. I'll pick up Jameis Winston. I'll pick up
Stafford.
Stafford, yeah.
Grappago?
Yeah.
Grappa is a go.
Grappa is a go.
I
think we're not all of us are pretty confident in Baker. With that being said, Chubb, I think you have to dial him up each and every week. He's
still not hard, but he's been a Chubb.
Baker more
he's
like
half Chubb right now.
Baker more like taker of your fantasy wins. Running back side of the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, we're starting Chubb. OBJ, you fire up. I know he has a little bit tougher corner matchups, but he's still OBJ.
He's still Odell.
Hey, do you think OBJ goes in the locker room and he's like, guys, check out my watch?
Yeah, because he's
callback, dude. Ever heard of that?
What's your feelings on Jarvis real quick now that Njoku's going to be out for a few more weeks? Do you think it just helps his target share go up a little bit? Think it doesn't affect it?
I mean, one thing when I was watching the game, it was just crazy because it's like at one point they each had like 7, 8 targets, but like Odell had like the 80 yards or the touchdown and like over 100 yards, 7, 8 catches. And then you got Landry over here who same amount of targets, but he had like 3 catches for like 27 yards. And it's just crazy. It's like we always talk about you want to get the targets, you want to get the volume, but it's like it was just crazy to see them each get the same amount of targets, but now it's just like one is being used completely different than the other. I mean, I don't know. What's your thoughts on it?
I mean, I don't like the quarterback.
I don't like Jarvis Landry in this matchup.
I don't like the touchdown upside this week for the team overall. I'm probably fading him to the bench.
Would you play Nelson Aguilar?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying Nelson Aguilar because I feel like that's somebody that a lot of people have picked up this past week.
I would play.
And starts
Nelson
with the guys who
Aguilar
said
over Landry.
DK Metcalf.
That one's where it's getting close for me personally.
No feelings involved.
No feelings. Yeah, I don't know. But let me just a stat I saw too. In the 18 games that he's been there, Landry, he's only averaging 6.6 yards per target, and that's the 12th worst among qualified wide receivers. So, like I said, they're just not. They're like short, quick passes, and he actually dropped a couple passes last week, which is surprising because he's usually pretty sure-handed.
Yeah. He's pretty handsy.
I think he sees Odell's hands and it makes him nervous. He's like, damn,
he's like,
is he better than me?
He
I
gets
gotta
shaky
keep
hands.
up. Yeah.
Leaky, shaky hands. What about David Njoku's out?
He's out.
He's dead.
Concussion. They think he broke his wrist, so he's out.
He headbutted his mic on the and his podcast.
I gotta fucking.
If anything, this could maybe get more targets for Higgins, on the outside, or if when Callaway comes back, maybe he's a guy because he's also like a deeper threat guy. Right. Landry's role is still gonna stay in that's short.
He's a good golfer too.
Yeah.
Who? Callaway. Higgins? Oh, Callaway. Yeah, I heard he is a good golfer. It's good drive.
That was a mic joke.
Yeah.
Was it? Usually,
Browns defense. What's your thoughts right here? I mean, Myles Garrett. I think he leads the league in sacks right now.
He is a guy.
Except for Calais Campbell after tonight, but
yeah. How many Calais Campbell got? Like three sacks.
Yeah, but Miles.
That's pretty crazy,
got
dude.
3 last Monday
That's
The dude from the Chiefs got like 5 sacks in a game last year. What's his name? I remember I was watching it. It's like, that's his 5th sack of the game. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Chris Jones.
That's
or
pretty-
something.
that's pretty crazy.
You know, guy's massive. He's like 6'10". He's like a defense end. He's like 6'10".
Who do you? What team do you think led the league in sacks last year?
Probably the
Dolphins.
Steelers.
Steelers. It was the Steelers.
Dolphins were second.
Were they?
No. I know, we were decent last year.
This might be a tough
like
matchup for the
30th.
Browns defense, realistically, but I like the Browns defense going forward. They still got some good defensive line, you know, some good corners, you know, good linebackers, a good defense to hold on to. So I wouldn't be dropping them for this matchup.
I think his team put it together.
Yeah.
You think so?
Not to speak.
I think they got so overhyped in the offseason. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It's if there's one thing I've learned from watching football is when people are super hyped about something, bet or root the opposite because it's not the case. You know what I mean? And that's all I got to say. Anything else you guys want to touch on before we end this episode?
End
good.
game.
Okay, this is the Average Bros End Game. This has been the Average Bros Fantasy Football Podcast. This has been your host, Michael Marcanio. I'm here, and we just went over the matchups for Week 3. I can't believe it's 3rd week of football. So amazing. But it's been pretty great. If you can go leave us a rate and review on Apple Podcasts app, that would be amazing. If you're listening to audio on there, you just scroll down, hit that 5 stars, leave us a review, say Mike was probably the funniest one on the podcast for sure and the most informative.
Simple Jack.
That's what everybody would say. Yeah, so if you want to do that, that'd be great. Also go check us out on Instagram at @AverageBros_fantasy football. We answer any type of questions. People are sending us their like full lineups, and we're actually giving advice on like what we think. We got a little bit more time on our hands, but once this stuff starts blowing up, dude, we can't promise you that, okay? We're not going to be here for you the entire time. So fucking get on it early. Get on this advice train early before we have some type of exclusive app where you have to pay for it for this type of sexy ass advice. Follow us on Twitter at AverageBrosFFP. Once again, all these links are in the description below. Thank you for listening. This has been episode 21 of season 2 of the Average Bros Fantasy Football Podcast. Just a couple of average bros with above average fantasy football knowledge. And we're fucking out. Like Mike Trout. He's a baseball player.
He's really out, though.
He's out. He's got it. What?
He really is out.
He's out. He's out for the season. So if you're playing fantasy baseball, which I think is over, don't play him. He's out. Ha!